Once again, the What It Takes Radio Company presents another radio adventure with the Stanley Jones Radio School for Fully Alive Living. And today we're going to be talking about getting ready to go back to school and to living well. Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. This is Stan once again, Stan the Radio Man, for the Stanley Jones Radio School for Fully Alive Living. Can I say that again? It's about Stanley Jones, a man of incredible wisdom. And his wisdom was advanced for his time 50 years ago, and it's advanced for today. That's how the good Lord blessed him with some incredible words and work and wisdom that we can use today. And since I kind of bear his name, I decided that maybe God wanted me to help preserve the tradition and perhaps to create some encores, some living encores of men and women who wanted to live not only in the church, but even more importantly, in some cases, in the marketplace, what it means to be fully alive, because they believe that God has special wisdom for them and that there is the Jesus story that they need to learn and to follow him. That's right. Follow him. That's what he asked us to do. To be like him, to imitate him. Certainly to understand he is Lord, but the primary thing to understand is that he is the way to live now, to live in the future, to have the past forgiven, and to live well, to be fully alive right now. Hey, we've taken a few weeks off. You know, it's summer, so we had a little summer recess. But now we're coming up, at least to those of us who live in the northern hemisphere, and particularly in America, the first Monday of September is called Labor Day, and that's where we honor those men and women who work, oftentimes those who work hard to make and fix things, not just someone like me who wears a coat and tie and messages things, but people who actually do the tough and hard work of making and fixing things. We honor them, and it's usually the day when the schools ring their bells, both in their colleges and universities, down to the elementary schools, and the preschools say, hey, summer vacation has passed. And now it's time to get back to school and work. No more retreats, no more recreation all the time. It is time to make sure that we're doing the work that God has allowed us to do, to live out the mission he has encouraged us to commission to, and to make the world a little better place, because we're here and we're following him. That's what he wants us to do. So that's what I'd like to begin. And today, instead of being in the Stanley Jones What It Takes radio studio, I put the microphone here in kind of an office setting, because what I wanted to emphasize, which we often forget, that Stanley Jones was trying to teach us how to live in the world, in the marketplace. What many pastors and professional people in religious studies forget is that we don't make our living by being in church and doing church work. We have to make our living 40 and 50 and 60 hours a week by living in the marketplace. And as one young man said to me the other day, he said, Stan, it looks like I'm going to get this job, but you know what? The boss told me that I'm going to have to learn how to be a salesman. I'm going to have to learn how to sell things. He said, Stan, I've never sold things in my life. Can you help me learn how to sell things so I can be a good salesman and be a good employee and keep my job and do well? And I said, yeah, I can do that. I can do that. I can help you be good at sales and marketing. First of all, how to sell and market yourself. how to sell and market the company that you represent, but most importantly, how to be so personally connected to the client or prospect that you're working with so that you are able to persuade them to make a purchase, to make a sale. And he simply said, I would give almost anything to know how to do that well. Well, here's what I'd like to illustrate that today I'm going to take a little blast from the past. COVID is pretty well past, but when COVID was just beginning to end, I put together a little program called the Thing You're Going to Have to Seek and the 7 Skills for the Post-COVID World. So it'll take you back about maybe 4 years ago, but I found it in my archives and I thought, this would be good because it illustrates it's not about the Stanley Jones. I never mention him, but it's about some things I learned about life and business in which Stanley Jones and his works, his manhood, his missionhood, his methods have influenced my own thinking about being what I truly am is a world-class, hopefully, that means I care about the world and my clients and customers, business performance coach, and how I do the working world of my long career as a communicator broadcaster. So that's what I'd like to do right now is, with your permission, let's do a flashback and then uh, watch the program that I put together. And remember, 4 or 5 years ago, I've aged since then. Maybe I'm a little bit wiser since then. And then finish it up. So here we go. Greetings once again, ladies and gentlemen. The men and women who are going to seek to make their mark in the 2020 post-COVID world. How do we survive? How do we thrive? And how do we restore to all that was lost something of value, of great spiritual, economic, and professional, commercial value? And that's a good question for you to think about. How do you design and decide what is truly valuable in the new normal, the new COVID realities? Well, that's a part of the skills that you're going to have to develop. And what I'd like to do very briefly today is to respond to an article that was put out by Seth Godin's organization. And what he has sought to do was to have a workshop on what would be the real skills. What are the real skills that we're going to need to make it in the marketplace? And particularly as a freelancer, as a entrepreneur, as someone doing their own business, how are we going to make it? What are some of the skills that are really important? Not just nice, but really important. So let me take my crack at that. Okay? First of all, just use this term for all of them. Wisdom. Wisdom seeking. What you are all about as a leader, both in your group, in your business, in your organization, and in your position and role in any significant way in society, is seeking wisdom. Now, do you have a way of doing that? Do you have a way to seek wisdom? I one time said to a young man who was curious as to how I knew what I knew. And I said, well, I've been a wisdom seeker for a long time. And he looked at me and said, a wisdom seeker? What's that? Well, right there, you've got a great question. What is wisdom? And what is a wisdom seeker? And what particularly is a wisdom path that you perhaps need to follow? And by the way, there probably is no road or highway or freeway or track for you to find the wisdom that you need for life, business, and true success. But here we go. First of all, I'm going to simply say this: the future belongs to the storyteller. That's right. Storytelling is one of the skills you have to have because all effective communication is storytelling. If you're selling, if you're persuading, if you're informing, you're seeking to educate people so that they will do something, so that they will move something, change something, not just be entertained or informed or maybe delighted. You're going to have to learn the art of storytelling. Now, that is a class in itself. In fact, it's a course in itself. In fact, it is a life venture in itself. Storytelling. You're also going to have an appreciation for designing. I always admire great design. In fact, that was what Steve Jobs was really good at. Is he said the difference will be in the computer world is our design. First of all, how we design the experience for people to use it, and then just is it nice? Is it eye-catching? Is it attractive? Does it feel good? So I'm trying to learn more and more, and I've tried to get a few people who are designers to just occasionally mentor me because I want to have both an eye and an ear and a sense of designing. And you will need in your life and in your business a CDO, perhaps a chief design officer. But if they're really good, they won't take the term, chief. They'll say, we're going to create together. So you need a creative design officer in your organization, in your life affiliation. Do you have one? The third thing you're going to have to learn how to do is to do exactly what I'm doing. A broadcaster. You're going to have to learn the art of broadcasting. Your Zoom conference probably zucks, as I say. You're going to have to learn how to present yourself on radio and on television. You're going to have to do a podcast. You're going to have to do lots of programs like this. Your Zoom conferences are going to have to be presentations. I've said for years, and I've been ignored for years, that one of the fundamental schools of thought and intention and performance that you need, just as many years ago that, when he said how to win friends and influence people, Dale Carnegie said you have to learn how to be a public speaker. Well, you're going to have to learn how to be a broadcaster. The performing arts. That's a vital skill. And let me tell you right now, a lot of people are going to be in big trouble because this COVID shutdown and then comeback is going to put a real emphasis on, again, the regaining and restoring of people's confidence at a social distance, at virtual, at stay at home, at all kinds of places. And the man or woman who knows how to step in front of the camera and the microphone with real confidence will have a significant advantage. So you're going to have to learn how to be in broadcasting. You're going to have to learn how to be a risk taker. Right now, I am more and more discovering that I've had opportunities and presented opportunities to others, and it's been good for them, but they're scared. Risk-taking is overcoming fear. And overcoming fear means that you are willing to do things you haven't done before. It's taking a risk. And in our kind of cuddled, comfortable culture, most of us have not been exposed to risk-taking, to failing, to getting back up, to deal with the fact that adversity is part of the plan and that life is difficult. You're going to have to learn the skill of sometimes doing the due diligence and then doing against the odds. Against the odds. You're going to have to take risks and learn how to do that. And guess what will happen? you'll fall flat on your face a number of times. So in the art of taking risks, you also have to learn the art of getting back up. As we say, okay, as soon as you get thrown off the horse, that's what the cowboy courage was all about. You get back on it. And if you get thrown off again, you get back on it. Okay, there we go. Okay, what have we had now? We've had storytelling, we've had designing, we've had broadcasting, we've had risk-taking. Now, you're going to have to learn the art of sleeping. That's right, getting a good night's rest. Now, the pillow guy found the niche. He simply said, most people don't sleep very well, and that's true. And there's all kinds of reasons why they don't. And at least a good pillow will help. But as one guy said to me, and it was very, a fascinating story, because he was full of screw-ups in his life, and he was full of success in his life. I mean, he had gone, like he said, I've been a millionaire 5 times. But now I'm not. And then he had to start life all over again and try to restore a marriage that didn't work, but then try to make one that did, to restore his life with his family, to get his life back together. And he says, I found the secret really helped me. I get 8 hours of sleep every night now. Never did that. I go to sleep. I learn how to rest. We are now aware that people are deprived and starved of many things, but sleep deprivation is one of the major causes of some of the problems we have. Learn how to sleep. The next one is going to challenge you. I'm going to ask you to learn how to pray. That's right, praying. You say, well, I'm not a religious person. Well, I'm sorry about that, because there are certain religious rituals and regimens that you're going to have to get used to. Because people who have rituals and regimens and rigor, it's a form of religious practice. So, okay, you may not be into that, but I'm sorry to tell you if it's really hard for you, but having your life connected to a transcendent power will be very useful and helpful. In fact, it is vital. That's the deal. You don't have to believe me. You can ignore me, but that is true. You're going to have to learn the art of asking, and you're going to have to learn the art of shutting up, sitting still, and listening. That's right. That's what praying is about. It's speaking who we are to the powers and spirit and forces of the universe that are above and beyond anything we understand or control. And then it's shutting up and listening. You can put any other term you want on it, but I'm going to simply say that. You're going to have to learn how to pray. A lot. So I would encourage you to think about that, to let that sit on your head for a while. Then you're going to have to learn, and I'll put it this way, you're going to have to learn the art of saying the right things. That's right, saying the right things. Think about all of the good things you need to learn how to say, and to say them often. And I'll start with the most obvious. And the reason I say the most obvious, because it is the one that is most ignored by leadership people. Learn how to say thank you. I cannot believe in my life working with very successful people, at least positionally, and I found out usually their positional position is not nearly as good as it could be if they had a little better relational position, but that's part of the deal. And I've also found people who weren't that good in their position, but because they were very good with relationships, they were able to function in a position because people liked them and people helped them. Okay. Learn how to say thank you. Say it all the time. Say it 100 times a day. say thank you 100 times a day. I want you to learn how to say grateful. I'm grateful for that, which is kind of a stronger thank you. But let me tell you, you will find people will stop for a moment when you tell them how grateful you are for them and what they've done. Learn how to say, I'm grateful. Learn how to say, how can I help you? How can I help you? What do you want? Whatever the situation is, and I oftentimes point out that the master teacher, the master entrepreneur, Jesus was very commonly in the position of just saying is, what do you want me to do for you? How can I help you? Do you know? By the way, if someone ever asks you that, be ready with an answer. What kind of help do you need right now? How can I help you? I'm going to ask you that right now. I've gone through this list. I've thought about this. I've had many, many years of radio teaching, broadcasting, and coaching experience. Do you need some help with any of those? How can I help you? Another gentleman taught me this one. He said, you know what? One of the things I learned in college from my professor that has served me best in so many ways is just in the midst of all the argumentation and debate and everything that's going on. He says, I learned from this man to simply say, I don't know. I don't know. You may add to that, but I'll try and find out. I don't know. What do you think? What do you know? Can you help me know? The ability to admit that I don't know is very powerful. So learn how to say that. It's okay to say that. And I think you'll find that learning, when many, many people ask you for your opinion or ask what we should do, from time to time, you just need to say, maybe even more often than not, I don't know. But you know, here's an idea. Or, I wonder if this might work. But that's been prefaced by, I don't know. There we go, my friends. Just a few minutes of what it takes wit talk. Some real skills. They're all under wisdom seeking. And I hope you got them down. You're going to be a storyteller. You're going to design and create things. You're going to be a broadcaster. You're going to be a risk taker. You're going to learn how to take a good night's sleep. You're going to learn how to pray. And you're also going to learn how to say the right things. There you go. 7 real pro skills for you, a master entrepreneur, for you, a business leader, a business survivor, a business thriver in the post-COVID world. My name is Stan Houston. I can probably help you a little bit. Please reach out to me. I'll help you do what it takes, and I'll help you get on What It Takes Radio, because we're really good at getting you to do just exactly what I am doing. Reaching out to the whole wide world with a lot of, perhaps ideas that might be helpful and useful. And I have a rather distinct appearance, so you'll remember, Stan the man, and I'll be glad to help you make your mark in the post-COVID 21st century. Best and blessings. I really mean that. Another good skill is to pass on blessings all you can. Blessings, and bye for now. Thank you for your time. That's what some people say. It has its place in the time and space, but it has a little bit of the eternal quality to it. that what I said 4 or 5 years ago, I believe, is still very relevant today. And I hope you'll think about these things. Are you truly seeking to be somebody who is looking for the ways of wisdom? Do you believe that God has special wisdom to share just with you, and for others? Do you believe that Jesus' story is a story that you can be a part of? And that that's what we need to know. What is God's wisdom that we can use? And what a part of the Jesus story can we learn from and use so that we can live well, fully alive, right now and forever? Right now, I would appreciate your help. This comes complimentary. However, it costs a bit of money for us to put it together. And so Ann Matthews Eunice and I are working together with the Stanley Jones Foundation. The Stanley Jones Foundation to produce these programs. It's kind of now a publishing and perhaps podcasting organization, and we would be grateful if you appreciate this, to recommend us to others, to subscribe to the program. And we would welcome very much if you could make a contribution to the work that we do so that we can keep doing this on a weekly basis. And there's going to be more to it. It's not only just going to be a school about the theology and message, it truly is, as we did today, a school that you could share with others. Just like Stanley Jones just didn't speak to Christians. In fact, he spoke to many of them who were not believers, who were not Christian. He was an evangelist teaching them not necessarily about theology, but how to live a transformed life. And one of his greatest books is The Transformed Life. So thank you for your time. Thank you for your generosity. Thank you for your care. Thank you for your recommendation. I wish you all the best and blessings as we push forward into new and perhaps dangerous for some of us, uh, where courage is required, where new opportunities are before us. It truly is a changing world. And we ask for God's good grace and God's good wisdom and God's good strength and spirit to sustain us and help us to be a blessing to others. All the best and blessings to you. Till next time. Bye for now.